We're going. She got notified.
Okay, I will call to order our town commission work session. We'll dispense with the pledge and the invocation if we get the regular meeting, and I will turn it over to.
Yeah, I'll start it off.
I know it's you, but you know we want to make sure you get the right introduction.
All right, so the work session tonight is to talk about the alternative water project, and this is the same project that we had in the budget with the state that got the line item veto. We always knew we were going to need multiple funding sources for this project, so one of the things that we've been doing is also exploring the state's revolving loan fund. So there's certain steps that we need to do in order to make that happen. So we have to have a public meeting. They're going to go through the stormwater harvesting alternative water supply facility plan, essentially. Not asking for any action during the workshop. They're just going to go through this presentation, bring you up to speed where the project's at. There is a little bit of an increase in what we expected the original cost to be. That's kind of to be expected in the environment that we're in right now. But we'll go through the presentation, and then during the regular meeting, I will be asking you for to adopt the alternative water supply facilities plan formally. And then the idea is we'll move the project forward. We'll start formally doing the design, and we will be looking for other funding sources, including water management district funds and anywhere else that might be available. We are not able to do anything in the state budget because this has been vetoed. There is another opportunity I got from Representative Thompson's office. There's a lot of money that they have for local projects, but this one won't be eligible because it was vetoed. Next year, we can go and the next legislative session asking for funding, but during this fiscal year of 22-23, I can't go up for that particular pot of money, but the other agencies won't be problematic with that. But I'm going to turn it over to Roberto and Kayla and let them Scott and let them go through the project itself. You know, this is a great project that they put together.
So yes, as Steve was saying that we needed to go ahead and to meet the deadlines for getting SRF funding. One of the other things is public participation. So that was this had been advertised. So both in the workshop and commission, the opportunity for public participation if there is any. So with that, we're here to talk about the Town of Oakland Stormwater Harvesting Alternative Water Supply Facilities Plan. So we're going to talk about it here in a workshop and a summarized version. I'm Scott Bryant, private CPH. We got Robbie Gonzalez, Kayla Lockoff. She there actually did the work, and Kat, Robbie talk.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? How's it going? CPH engineers. I'm the senior project manager on this project. Kayla Lockoff over here. She's actually the design engineer on the project. Give her real props on that. And as Stephen and Scotty have pointed out, this is one of the parts that you have to do for the SRF loan is you got to have public involvement. You got to do water supply facilities plan, which we put together. I believe, was that also posted, the water supply plan?
I believe they got a copy of it.
Yeah, so that was made, available public. This is just a draft copy right over here that I have. It just shows you how thick it is. And what we're going to go through here is just really what we actually came up with in the facilities plan, which was the option that got selected and how you move forward. But basically what you do is you look at three different options, and the three options, one was do nothing. The other one was let's put in a pump station and then feed into the alternative water supply network that you have out there. And the other one was let's also look at adding a stormwater harvesting reservoir, like a 3 million gallon reservoir. So those were the three options that were looked at as part of this project here.
I think you have the clicker right there. You can advance the slides up on the.
Okay.
If it's working.
That's all.
Sometimes times out on the.
This is the guy you got working on it, huh?
I think it's still down there. Down button. So basically what we'll do is we'll go through a basic summary of what was the project, what are the needs for, what's the project description, talk a little bit about the proposed site location, what were some of the design options, the project cost estimate, and action items as we move forward. All right. So what was the project need? Well, as some of you may not know, that the town of Oakland, they're located in the Central Florida Water Initiative planning area. So what does that mean? What that means is coming in 2025, you won't be able to have any additional water out of the upper Florida aquifer. So right now, your wells are located in the upper Florida aquifer, so you wouldn't be able to withdraw additional water out of that aquifer. Another thing that you have is your alternative water supply system. You're actually 50% of the water that y'all use is actually for landscape irrigation. So that's pinching against your consumptive use permit. So what we want to do here with the town, how you want to move forward, is looking at an alternative water supply, which is harvesting stormwater. So that's how this project came about right there. So what will happen is come 2025, whatever you're drawing out of the ground, you ain't upper Florida, and that's what you're limited to. Anything else beyond that, you got to find an alternative water supply to meet those demands. This is one of those projects that we're doing, and I believe this would also be a favorable project to the Water Management District to enable the town also get grant money as an additional source of funding for the project. Okay, what we know is, as you can see on the map up here on the screen, you can see there's like what is it? 4 counties: Orange County, Lake County, a little bit of Osceola, and Seminole County. Those are the counties that are in the Central Florida Water Initiative. You happen to be inside it, so you have to address these kind of issues as you move forward if you want to continue to grow and also serve your customers. Okay. So what is a project description? So the purpose of the project is an alternative water supply facility, which is going to supplement the groundwater withdrawal. So instead of having more water coming out of the ground, as you see, we would harvest this water that would actually be going to Lake Tpa. You've got the nutrients, all those runoff, those type of things. It also would be an intercept in that and also limit that input into the lake. So that's an advantage that you have with this project and what we're setting up for it. And what is the method that's going to be doing? Well, what we would do is we would harvest the stormwater from the canal before it goes out into Lake Apopka. If some of you all have been to the city of Winter Garden, you could actually see they actually have they have 2 tiny little reservoirs that actually capture that pullback water that would actually be draining into Lake Apopka, and that's how they're supplementing their reclaim water system. So it's a similar thing that we're doing here, but you don't have reclaim, so you're not supplementing with reclaim. You're actually going to be using this stormwater harvest. Okay. So what are the benefits to the town? Well, obviously, it's going to save you on your consumptive use permit, and so it's going to significantly reduce the amount of water that you're withdrawing out of the ground. That's a really good benefit. And we've also master planned it for expandability and being able to use it also as part of the nature preserve. That was one of the things that was actually looked at, was potentially putting in a stormwater reservoir as well as part of this project. But the first thing we need to do is get the pumping facilities in, the chemical, the filter system, get that part all connected, get that up and working before you would move forward with the next phase of the project. And you can see here's a proposed site location right here, which is at the Oakland Nature Preserve. It's right up on that little corner going out to the whole island is where the site is right now. Right over here, you'll see these are the options, as I spoke of earlier. There were 3 options. One was doing nothing, which means you would continue to pull water out of the out of the upper Orton aquifer, and you'd have to find some way to meet your future development needs. And so that was not an option for the town. The other two was actually alternative 2 and 3. It's actually 3 is also including a stormwater pond as well. But just from the cost of that, and we wanted to keep that cost down, we feel that you could actually move forward with the pumping, the treatment system first and connecting to the distribution system. And then you move forward in the future with a stormwater pond. So these are the components that you have. You know, it's pretty basic. What I'm showing here is an intake screen structure. And then you have a pump station, much like you would have like a wet well or kind of a well that brings water into it. Then you would go through a set of filters because you got to meet a turbidity, and then you would disinfect it. And then we'd meet it with, we have about, what was it 15 minutes of chlorine contact time? Yeah. And then you got electrical and some SCADA control systems, and we tie it into the distribution system. So that's what this option is right over here. And what does it kind of look like? I'm just going to show you the treatment system. I'm not going to show you the pump station, but the pump station would actually push to this treatment, to this treatment facility right over here. Very similar to what you would see if you went over to Winter Gardens. The only thing is they don't have a bigger chlorine contact chamber because they're actually sending that water and blending it with their reclaimed water. So they're doing that in their ground storage tank. So that doesn't really show over there. They also have a coagulation system ahead of their filters, but they don't run that whatsoever. If you wanted to have enhanced removal of, say, additional nutrients like phosphorus, you could put, you know, an Allen system ahead of this, but we didn't see the need for that. And actually the city of Winter Garden was successful in not having to use that part. So we didn't put that component into this. We just want to deal with turbidity and deal with disinfection and then, and pump the water out to the system. Also, you'll notice is you'll see shaded up in there is some future trains and future pump and also a future disc filter. So right now, I believe the disc filter is right now is 1,500 gallon a minute, and each of those pumps are 1,500 gallon a minute. So you got a lead lag pump right there. They're on VFDs, so you could ramp it up and ramp down the flow rate on it. Then in front of it, which would block the view from the road, is we have the electrical / chemical building where you would secure all your equipment inside that. You could also see on the side profile that we kind of bury the clear well into the ground, so you don't see as much, but the filters are pushed back, you know, to the further back part of the property. You could actually physically put those filters in partially into the ground, but the only issue with that, then we'd have to put that clear well a little bit deeper into the ground, and you're already in a wet area as it is. And so that would result in you putting in a big concrete ballast on the bottom of that. You know, whenever a pool empties and they'll pop up out of the ground. So you'd have to have more structural integrity and weight of that system to keep it all down right there. So that's what we're looking at right now from a side profile. With that, these are some reference photos as we're discussing. The top one right there, the intake control structure, that's a photo of the intake over at the city of Winter Garden right now. And they hold back the water from there. It pumps into those filters, which you'll see right there, the two pair of, I believe those are Kruger filters. Those are, they're rotating disc filters. So it just has one motor that just turns the filters and just cranks it like a clock, but you know, I guess like 12 iterations. So probably every hour it'll turn a little bit. And then you just have more, you backwash on those other filters that are not in contact. We also are commingling this on the site that you have lift station number 3. Is that right?
Yes.
Lift station number 3. So if there's any backwash waste, we would send it to the to the sewer collection system. And that additional water that we have from backwash, it would actually end up benefiting water supply to the city of Claremont, where you send your wastewater to. And then you see the purple pumps right there. As I said, the high service pumps, they're vertical turbine can pumps. And so the motor is up in the air just like that, what you see. There's different ones. You could go with submersible, but I don't know if you could get as much head as we need, because if you see how Whole Island is, it's down by the lake. And then the town, we're up here on the hill. What's the elevation change? Is that like 50 feet? It's pretty significant. So that's why we have to have beefy pumps and higher horsepower on those motors to lift it up that hill to bring it to your distribution system. And right over here, this is a construction cost estimate that we have right now. It's got generally all the components that you would see. I believe what you see in the report is just a total construction cost of 3.5 right here. But you also have the engineering, you got the survey, geotech, the construction administration, all those other services. When you tally that all together, we're looking at just over $4 million to move forward on the project. And with that, how do we do this action item?
So this is just the work session. So at the regular meeting, this is an agenda item. And so we'll ask you to accept the plan that they presented. So if you have any questions or any discussion, that now's a good time for that. I do want to throw in a couple of things just to kind of frame this. So this alternative water supply project will be able to service about 1,000 houses between the newer subdivisions that we have here in town. So Oakland Trails, Hull Island, Longleaf, the apartment complex. There's a couple other smaller commercial areas, and Briley Farm will all benefit from this alternative water supply. And again, the focus of this is to try to take some of the pressure off of the aquifer use that we have with our potable water system. So we want to be able to conserve that, preserve that, and be able to service the town. And this helps us do that without having to ask for more, because it's not likely that we would get it based off of the information that they gave you. So that's why this has become now I will say that the alternative water cost, again, this is a very significant project with a big investment to get this built. It may not be that you see much cheaper water as your reclaimed water, but it will be much more environmentally friendly as far as where the water's coming from. So I can't say that it's going to be any less expensive than what they're already paying for potable water, but it certainly helps us conserve what we have. Because as you can see, this is a very significant investment that the town's going to have to put into build. We are looking to get grant money and other sources of funding. We do have some federal money that we're going to put into this also with the ARPA money. This was one of the projects that we had talked about previously. So we are doing our best to get this funded, especially from grants. And we did have this in the budget with the state, and it was vetoed. But we'll try again next year. This was a very well-received project, and the fact that we were able to be in the budget for $2 million, I think, proved that. So. Well,
I was just going to reiterate that once you heard that number, I know eyes and files went up, but basically to reiterate what Steve had said just now, that the intent is to get this whole project funded with some way, shape, or form with state monies, grants, and everything else that we can. They may be able to use some impact fees later, but that's not been considered yet. This actually tonight, this presentation is for the facilities plan related to the FDEP state revolving fund that you guys had. That whole water plant was funded with SRF funding. So you've been through this process before. I was part of that. And they have good rapport. In fact, they were ready to start providing loans to the town to start the facilities plan, but the town didn't need the money at the time. So it's already in the system. They're already aware of it. It scored highly on the priority points. So at least in terms of funding, we're in good position. Even what Robbie had mentioned about the design and the other things we'll need for survey and geotech, some of that have already been done. They'll fund that portion too. And it's usually a very low interest on the loans, and then they're usually a 30-year loan. We'll see with everything's going on, how that changes, but it's usually get pretty good loan. But then we also want to go after water management district grant funding, which may be up to $3 million worth of grant funding for that. So very important project for y'all. You're growing like crazy. Robbie mentioned the Central Florida Water Initiative. Your consumptive use permit was issued as a 20-year consumptive use permit. We're 5 years into that. 2025 caps, in a sense, caps that number at 2025, and we haven't started looking at those numbers, but we finished the water supply plan, and town needs to do some stuff, and this is one of the projects that's going to help you get for the future. With that, you guys have any questions?
What you got? Hap?
I'd like to say 1,000 homes. Is that going to be enough? Or we have to do another one for the cover that?
This will certainly help. I don't know. We've got to look at the opportunities, across town. Like Oakland Park, it's covered with reclaim because that's coming from Winter Garden. So we do have one section that's already got a reclaim source. Some of the rest of the town doesn't have the dual water system in.
Right.
So that's a whole nother conversation to have. So yeah.
Right. You're good about subdivisions, newer ones coming in. You have laid those purple pipes in there, so this alternative water will be what feeds it.
This will cover most of the all of the stuff except for maybe the Grove, which is kind of separate from everything else. But it'll cover all the other major subdivisions that we have. So it certainly gets us in a good place. I don't know if it'll be the final thing that we need to do, but this is where we need to be right now.
Yeah, no question but comment. I really feel good, but there are a lot of dollars out there. That's what we have the bandwidth to go after the federal, all the dollars, all the different resources. Because you mentioned the grants, and I know we got a lot of stuff that we're doing. We got a lot of growth that's going on, but the dollars are there. We know federal, state, grants and all that kind of stuff. So I feel good that we can get it done. I just hope we just have the bandwidth. I know you guys are really being worked right now. So I don't see this being a challenge. I really feel very good about what I'm saying.
No, I'm with you.
So this is not taking care of the historical Oakland or Johns Cove have purple pipes over there?
No.
So
these are all the subdivisions where we started in 2017. We started requiring all the subdivisions to do the dual water systems.
So, well, this is 1,000 homes. Is that the max that this facility will take care of? Or is it just because that's the max of purple pipe that we have out there?
Yes, both. Right now,
okay, so
this
whether
is fancy.
if we had more purple pipe, right? If we had purple pipe at Johns Cove, you wouldn't be able to pump it from there. Or if we had a historical Oakland with purple pipe, we wouldn't be able to have it.
If you go to the second phase, which right now it's cost prohibitive for you. That's that 3 million gallon reservoir that we want to be able. That's going to help supplement, and then putting the second disc filter. Those things you went through, which was a lot of technical jargon, but yes, it's being designed for providing water for the immediate strip near Hull Island. All those, there's a line that's out there. We're connecting to that, so it's almost immediate. This gets built, you can start disconnect the blue pipe going into the purple pipe and connect this into it, and you start irrigating all those along Hull Island all the way, what Steve was saying. Then if in each years from now, we can start looking at expandability and bringing it out. Once you start thinking about retrofitting, that cost goes through the roof. And that's why you want to hit all the low hanging fruit with this system. And then the main intent of this whole thing is to reduce your irrigation demand on your potable water system. And this will do it.
Yeah, so it has the potential to be expanded with the pond and
More equipment.
and more equipment. It's just having somewhere to send it to, and we don't have that infrastructure in place. We've got the 1,000 houses that are set up for it. But like you said, the retrofitting, when you start going into other areas that don't have the dual water systems, then you're talking cost to homeowners. So it becomes a bigger discussion. So this is a very good first step and takes care of a lot right away.
I guess my question was if if this is the first step, it doesn't end there. We can expand 10 years from now.
Yes,
More homes come,
Yes.
that site, not
yes.
10 years from now, we're scrambling looking for another site.
Yeah, well, there's other alternative methods, but that's not.
Well, and
that's not-
depending on how far you need to the transmission lines, how far those are, you may want to find some other alternative way to do it.
Well, and I think years from now, it'll be how much does it cost to retrofit versus how much it costs if we find somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
But I know where Commissioner Ramos is going. He doesn't care. We need to do it. We need to figure it out. And I know what he's going.
I want to be ready for it and prepare for it.
We need to do it. I'm sorry. We need to do it. Let's talk about it.
Let's get you that.
Let's figure it out.
Well, and
It's always a wait till yes.
Correct.
And as you figure, we've used that several times here before too. The trick to it will be as we get people that don't have split systems, the same trick that we have with going from septic to sewer.
Exactly.
It's the same, the analogy would be exactly the same there. How do we figure out? But you're right, if we say we can't do that because it's going to cost, then
Yeah.
we should all go home. So.
No, this gives you the basis to be able to do that. So yes, it's expandable and gives you that opportunity.
Rick, anything?
Just so I understand that this is going to handle everything we have typed right now, plus Briley Farm.
Yeah, Briley Farm, if that last development agreement, when that went through, in that development agreement, that part of the requirement is to put the pipe in so that they can access this. So all of these will at some point get hooked into it. The quickest one is Hull Island because it's right there.
The Briley Farms will be what would bring up to 1,000 homes.
Yes.
Yes.
Then, so if we want to add something beyond that, do that retention pond and add that pump. So
There'll be more distribution pipe.
Yeah.
So right now, there's a line out, finish, it's already out there, focal pipe that brings it to some.
but we're already
Yes, you're there.
planning for that third pump and
It'll preliminarily design and plan for, yes, that's correct.
And there is also a small environmental benefit here, other than just, saving the aquifer. As you're pulling the stormwater out and you're pulling the sediments out of it and you're treating it, and then you're sending it out to have it then filter again through the ground and maybe naturally take out some of that phosphorus and nitrogen. It's also got some benefit to Lake Apopka.
So
So
we're selling.
but like the electrical panels and all that already going to be set up for a third pump. So we can put that third pump and just hook it up to the electrical system we have there.
That'd be part of the design consideration and the cost aspect. So it'll be, the spot will be there for it. Do you want to spend the money that you may not need like now and need it 10 years from now? That I would never recommend.
Yeah, the answer to that is no right now. It won't.
No, right now.
So we had to add that third pump. We're all talking about.
Yes.
Third pump, filter,
Electrical and
panels should be fine. We'll have some spare spaces, but we won't put intervals that are just going to sit, use it, lose it. And we don't want to do that. We won't be using it.
Okay. Well, nobody's arguing it's a need, it isn't a want. So we just need to move forward to figure this is going to be a great start. Everything else, this is a great first step. We've heard that a lot lately, and we just need to keep moving to go the rest of the way with it. So thank you, Scott.
All right, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I will close the workshop. You want to hearts and mind this one?
Hold on,
I want to take that away from you.
No. I'll give it the finale.
All right, I will close this up. We'll take, it is 7 o'clock. We'll take a 5-minute break before we get started. You're ready?
Ready.
All right, it is 7:04. Rick, is that correct? 7:04. 7:04.
yeah.
I'm not on this guy. I'll call to order the town commission meeting. Please stand for the pledge and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic Sal, if you would, please.
Father God, thank you once again for entrusting us with your town. We ask that you give us your wisdom and discernment to make great decisions for our town citizens. And may we honor you in all we say this evening. In your name, amen.
Thank you, sir. All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner McMullen,
Present.
Commissioner Ramos,
Present.
Commissioner Pollan,
Here.
Vice Mayor Satterfield.
Present.
Mayor starts here, but we have a quorum.
All right, well, thank you very much. We will start with presentations. And since we have all these police officers here, we need to get them out of here first. Because I'm nervous. So we'll start.
All right, it's Sergeant Cruz, come on up here. It's my pleasure to present to you tonight. I'm very proud to do this, to present to you tonight, Sergeant Cruz, who was recently promoted last week, and I just want to give you a little bit of his background. Sergeant Cruz has been with the Oakland Police Department since June 5th, 2017. He was assigned to Road Patrol, where he performed the duties of a field training officer. Sergeant Cruz was also transferred after that in 2020 to the Criminal Investigation Unit, where he performed admirably and distinguished himself on numerous cases. Heard a lot of great things actually while he was in criminal investigations. During his assignment in the Criminal Investigation Unit, Sergeant Cruz was promoted to the rank of corporal on February 1st of 2021. He's got a bachelor's degree in business from Columbia Southern University from 2017. He has received over 25 commendations since his inception with us since 2017. He's also completed an 80-hour line supervision training through Valencia College. He just finished that recently, and like I said, he was promoted last week to sergeant, and I want to congratulate him. That'd be great.
Pokey.
I don't know where he is.
Here's your chance.
Don't flinch.
Big round of applause.
Oh, I gotta get, you gotta get milk.
Right. Oh.
Hold on to the.
You know what?
And never.
Keep focused, please.
No. Congratulations. All right, well, thank you guys. Next up, I think the Boy Scouts are here. So come on up, young man.
Good evening. Thank you for that amazing introduction. And of course, thank you guys for so my name is Dylan Fontenot. I'm a part of Troop 145. I'm a Life Scout at the Oakland Presbyterian Church. And I have recently took up the challenge of trying to be an Eagle Scout about a decade ago. I started as a Cub Scout in Oakland. And now I'm here and I'm working on the final requirement in Boy Scouts for the Eagle Scout rank. I've already been studying this for about years now. And I'll be working with my beneficiary, the Oakland Avenue Charter School, to be building my project, which is modern gourds or houses and back boxes for the school. I kind of went on for this a little bit, but an Eagle project is the last requirement in the Eagle Scout rank, which is the highest honor in Boy Scouts. All Scouts have to earn the rank before they're 18, or they're not eligible to earn that Eagle Scout rank. An Eagle Scout project is the biggest part of this rank. So these purple martin houses and bat houses, obviously in hearing that there are a couple concerns, but there also are a lot of things that come positive from this. So one being is the huge positive environmental impact that you get from this, because of how recently endangered martins have been, along with certain bats. I'm hoping to not only help the population, but also bring awareness to people around Oakland, especially kids, being inspired for conservation and helping with the Oakland Nature Preserve to help the species in general. Also, there has been for a couple of years problems with bats in the rafters and in umbrellas and all around, and it's been a problem for way too long. I'm hoping that these houses can not only give them a more suitable place to stay, but also be a little bit more welcoming instead of kicking them out the door every single August when school starts. We're going to help the bats really join our community. And also with the purple martins, the houses are seen a little bit here in Oakland, but these purple martins are probably one of my favorite animals of all time. They're just such beautiful animals, and the problem with them is they have recently become endangered to where habitat loss and a lot of other issues have been progressively making them forget how to build their own houses. So through the course of evolution, parents aren't teaching the kids how they build houses anymore. So they're relying on rafters and other human-esque areas for living. But there has been the Purple Martin Conservation Association, who I have interviewed a man who works there, who has given me all the bells and whistles for helping and how they are helping these purple martins, which they're creating these gourds that look kind of like Hershey Kisses. That purple martins kind of over the years that they've been working, they kind of notice these houses and know that that's home. So all around the U.S., these purple martins, mainly the East Coast, they see these houses, they know that that's their home. So when we construct these, it won't take very long for them to know that's my house. And then the good thing about it is they have an excellent memory. So they know to come back to the same house every year when they migrate from South America to Florida. We should be expecting them right around January, New Year's. That's when I have a couple of purple martin houses in my backyard, and we had them on New Year's Day. And they should be leaving pretty soon, actually around August. So then they go to Brazil and then they come back every year. And so I'm hoping that with this, we can help their population, and then also help the charter schools promise with the Oakland Nature Preserve towards conservation. I will be including with this project is educational signage on each of these gourds and houses, explaining everything that I just explained to you guys just now to the viewer. That could be a student, a teacher, a parent. And I hope that maybe just one kid could see this and be, oh my gosh, Mom, I love these. Can we put a birdhouse? And kind of get that inspiration going on for conservation, and maybe even more scouts and possible Eagle Scouts. A con that could be considered a con, but also a pro at the same time, is the annual maintenance that would be needed for these purple martin houses. Purple martins they're considerably messy, but they will be, annually, there will be need to clean the gourds after they leave to prepare for the next season coming around, which poses the opportunity for parent volunteering. They could volunteer. I have a couple pages on explaining how all of it works, how to things as simple as how to lower the gourds and all of everything that you would need to do all of the maintenance for these houses. And that can be easily done for parents for their volunteer hours to the school. Right there, I've talked to the OACS and talking about what is the best location for these houses. We have decided that this kind of red line is a good deal for where these houses can go to also to benefit the species along with being best for the school. The other thing is these houses need to be a relatively maybe 15, 25 feet away from buildings in general. But that's also lateral wise. So as long as we have these houses just in a considerable area away from the school, there's no problem with what's going on. Not exactly problem, but these purple martins, some people think, oh, do we have to worry about these things like dive bombing kids or just being in that general area? Purple martins, as I mentioned, they're now working and they see these houses and they recognize these houses are made by humans. So they are chill with humans. They know who you are. They know what you are. They don't really care about you, no offense, but they could care less. So there's not a big issue with that. In terms of funding for this project, I'd already given a presentation to the OACS PTO a couple of years back before COVID, and we had talked about the Ears to You grant that they get every year. They have decided the past 2 years that the grant money that they get from this grant will be going towards this project. So funding has already been figured out and is ready. And then from that point, all I had to do was present to the Eagle board for the Eagle Empire District and get my approval for this project and my proposal. That has already been approved. So I have all of my approvals from everybody I need with you guys. I'm just now at this point, all I need to do is plan, get the materials, and I can build tomorrow if needed. Everything has already been approved from here. I'm just trying to get you guys informed on what is going on and what this project may be going to. Very cool. So with that, that's what I have for you guys. Of course, if you guys have any questions, just.
What's the annual cost of maintenance?
Cost of maintenance? Not sure. It's mainly just work. It's okay. Yeah, it's just cleaning, like wiping things down generally, but it's just the hours that you need to take in order for the work to be done.
And based off the diagram at the school, how many would you need to put around that red?
I'm planning on having 2 Martin gourds and 2 boxes. Okay. So the gourds being that whole set, that picture that I have there, 2 of those, and then 2 of the bat houses. Those to be scattered around.
What's the town? Can we put more of those around town if needed?
Yeah. Almost. I know there are people that do the purple martins, because the purple martins, I've heard a lot of great things about them as far as mosquitoes. So we certainly could encourage that with people, and I'm not sure what they have already out of the nature preserve.
Yeah, and that's the exact thing that I'm trying to help, is to spread that awareness, especially the kids, because the kids have a lot of say in getting also parents involved.
Well, you educate this big kid here, so I'm.
I'm going to thank you ahead of time, because when my grandkids see it, I'm sending them to you to figure out how to put them in my backyard. Sal?
Dylan, I am so impressed.
Thank you.
Very good and very eloquent the way you spoke, and you prepared yourself very, very well. I mean, if you.
Ramos, is it okay? I don't know if you mentioned this, but you all know that Dylan is an OACS alum, right?
Yes.
Yes, he left us for just yesterday, right?
The best troop of Orange County, 145.
That is also.
Yeah, okay, you two, come on now, give me his money.
I'm very impressed. I love the presentation. You prepared yourself very well. You spoke very well.
Thanks.
You have raised $500 so far. What's the goal?
The ultimate, there is no real goal per se yet. Once I have my plan and my money, not money, but my budget and materials.
Okay.
Materials sorted out, then I'll have an exact budget. But we're looking around $3,500 to $4,000.
Okay.
If needed more, I have the money for that, which I have raised, but the grant money I have is going for the most in this project.
Very good.
I'll ditto what Commissioner Ramos said, but I got two questions. Now, did the bathhouses need annual maintenance also, or just the Purple Martin houses?
It's not enough to need annual maintenance, but these houses, they're just bats. They poop every once in a while, but there's nothing really that needs to be handled. They kind of go on their own way, but Purple Martins are a little lazy and they build their nest. So they bring straw into the houses to build their nest. And the only annual maintenance with that is just cleaning that out, just taking that out, taking out the leftover eggshells, that kind of thing.
And the Purple Martin house.
Yes, the Purple Martin houses.
So we don't put the straw in there. The birds do that themselves. So we just clean it all out, so it empty, and then okay. And then, how many feet did you say the Purple Martin houses have to be from the building?
Around 15 to 20 feet. But that's also height wise. So I have my houses from being 20 feet high from the base, which I had talked about that with man who works at Disney, also the Purple Martin Conservation Association. He studied Purple Martins day in, day out. And from what I showed him, that line and 20 feet high, it's okay for him.
Do you have to be 20 feet from a tree also, or just building? It's
a little bit more lenient with a tree. It's more just man-made structures. Of course, you need to have some space from a tree, but it can be stretched because it's kind of what they're used to more often.
Thank you.
Hey, and the bats don't migrate, so they're going to be there all the time.
They will be there all the time. So they'll always be there to help with mosquitoes.
So the Purple Martins are from January to August, you said?
Yes, that's probably the longest they've been here. Sometimes it's smaller. It's hard to predict. But once you get in kind of a groove, or the birds get in the groove, you can predict almost the exact day of when they will. My family had predicted it would be here 1st of January. We were right on the dot.
That's a long season. They come in here when it's still cold, and then they stay the real hot summer.
Right. Yeah.
Can we get dual purpose with this while they're gone? I mean, what is that game you guys used to play? Feather ball, or I mean.
You're done, Sal.
Ignore him, Devin. It just,
That also poses a good point. What's going to stop a kid from playing around on these things? The other idea I had thought for this, which would also help with the droppings and annual maintenance, is planting just a couple of bushes around the tree. Maybe a couple feet from the base will not only stop kids from climbing in it, but also can kind of help with the droppings and
put some boxwood.
Fertilizer.
That's right. Yep. Fertilizer.
Very nice. Very nice.
all right. Well, I have to tell you, mirroring Sal and Rick on how phenomenal you did here tonight. You yourself are phenomenal. What you are doing. If I was your parents, I would be just so proud of you. So you have one heck of a future ahead of you, boy. It's just amazing. So, and I kid around with a lot of people, but I'm not kidding now. You are an amazing young man. So thank you.
Very much appreciate it.
last question. Do you need anything from us in the way of help?
Not today. I was just here to tell you all about what's going on. I have my signatures and everything. I could build tomorrow if I wanted to. So
That's a good answer. Thank you. All right, we need to get a picture. And someone else needs to take it. No. Thank you, sir.
Come in right here.
Right there.
Come on.
Come on. Here comes. We want to get in here?
You ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, another one. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Birthday, Mama. You got a good trip.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
I think you'd be a pretty good engineer.
Let's move on.
Oh, yeah. No, he's just going for material and then put a bunch of stuff. I wanted to know what and how can we help them? We can find people to, 3,000 pounds and see how to donate. We tell them where we can donate. Donate.
All right, thank you.
I like to put one myself.
All right,
I got
okay. Looks like the police are leaving, so we'll give it a minute. We'll rush it. Okay, next up.
Good evening. I am here today to have for a special presentation. Each year, the Florida Consortium of Public Charter Schools presents an opportunity for those organizations that are a part of their consortium to nominate various individuals for their mission and their love and promotion of public charter schools. Some of the awards that they give out each year are a charter leader, commissioning honorable commissioner, a board member, and or a charter school pioneer. So this particular year, it took some time to put together a nomination for a charter school pioneer, which is a person who has put a tremendous effort into promoting the choice movement for either their local community and or the state. And sometimes it can impact both. So I am here today to present a very special award for the charter school pioneer leader to Vice Mayor Mike Satterfield.
Oh.
Thank you. Here's your award. Okay. Yeah, I got something I want to read to you though. Okay. Just a second, everybody's get out. Okay. So with that award, I'd like to read to you the nomination that we put together with the support of those who have known you longer than I have as well. Mike Satterfield was a member of the Town of Oakland Commission when the idea of creating a charter school for the Town of Oakland was presented. From the very beginning, Mike shared an excitement and passion for this huge project. At the town that had many priorities, the bold vision Mayor John Vanderlei had to build the charter school almost bordered on crazy. Although gigantic vision, the Town Commission saw the potential for creating educational choice would have on the town, children, and the families. Mike was the biggest supporter for this education, for the education choice for this community. Immediately, he volunteered to take the lead role on this project. Tirelessly, he worked to ensure the school was built to be a beacon of pride for this community. After construction and opening the school back in 2004, Mike volunteered to serve as the parent liaison, as well as act as the chairperson on the school advisory council. The beginning was rocky as there was much to learn, ranging from ensuring proper management, statutory requirements, parent needs, and even the biggest rocket science of all, the car line. Throughout all the learning, Mike remained steadfast in support and problem solving for all things Oakland Avenue Charter School. With support of the School Advisory Council, Mike was a pivotal influence in the movement away from a management company due to the great difficulty in having two governing bodies. It was Mike who championed the idea of the town owning and operating the school to ensure the services to those that chose Oakland Avenue were top notch. A municipality charter is a rare dynamic, but Mike believed it could be done. For nearly 19 years, Mike has been the glue that holds the school, the town, and the community together. He remains an active sounding board and an influencer for all school operations and staff. He champions student and parent choice and voices this continuously. Whether he is standing up for staff compensation for more competitive, to be more competitive, championing equity and school benefits to town employees, or ensuring the parents have a voice and the best choice for their children, Mike never ceases to advocate for choice. Mike continues to be a part of helping to resolve many challenges that still impact the operations to this day. Every step of the way, Mike has been leading the charge. Those who have been here since the beginning do not believe Mike knew that this project would be this long, but he has never wavered on his commitment. Mike is truly a foundation of the wonderful and successful school that Oakland Avenue Charter School is, and it would not be so without him pioneering the way.
Well, we need to get a picture.
Yeah, we gotta get a picture because we have to post it all up there. Thank you for staying.
I wondered whether I.
Yeah, I asked
Like you are.
Well, we were trying to keep it a surprise. We were supposed to do it. Oh, gosh. Well, I'm sorry.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm out.
Here's your box, then see if you would like to put it. Okay.
Well, thank you all very, very much. That means a heck of a lot. So,
Congratulations.
thank you. You ready? Okay. All right, that brings us to public forum. Do we have anybody here that wants to talk about anything that is not on the agenda? How about virtually? Is anybody out there besides Amy?
Amy.
Hi, Amy.
I don't think I'm doing that anymore, right? People can.
June.
Yeah, they can, this is what I want.
Yeah, we got to do. Okay, so we have nothing for public forum. Next is the consent agenda. And we got a chance to look at everything, and if so, what's your?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
A motion in a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed? We have a consent agenda. Okay, ordinance. First public hearing of ordinance number 2022-15.
Okay, good evening. A utility easement vacate in the Oakland Park subdivision. It's right on the trail, and we'll look at it. It's lots, two lots that they want to combine. And,
Right, because it did. No, you did it. Okay. So anyhow, J&J Building is the applicant or the owner of the lot at the moment. And let's just look at the next slide here and see it's right on the trail. And what you're going to see here is that you can see the part of the trail, the green area is really wide, relatively speaking, compared to the other areas. We're going to see that a little bit more on this. Well, look, there's a shot that we just got today from the applicant, and you see how narrow it is over here. And some of you probably, I'm sure, been there, and you see how some of these houses kind of face out, but that's quite a distance there to where this house is going to be. So you can see on the left side where the house is going to be. And it's got a good long distance between the trail. It's for Oakland Park. It's not a huge house, but it's certainly not a small house. And I think it'll be very nice. And if any questions, the Planning and Zoning Board approved this or recommended approval, and this is recommended for your approval.
Questions?
What's the size of the house under roof?
I honestly don't know. Probably a good 3,000.
So I was at the P&Z meeting, and Mike Morrissey was at that meeting. The way they've laid this house out and the way the interaction with the trail is and the way those lots were individually would not have made an easy, you would have had this long, thin house on that lot that's closest to the trail, and would have basically been looking at kind of through the brush, you just see nothing but a side of a house. By putting those two lots together and being able to treat it like this, you've got that breakup in the massing. You see where they've got the potential to put a pool there and have more of a courtyard. It gives you a much better feel and much better interaction with how that property will interact with the trail, even though there is quite a bit of buffer there. And it's also that lot that's adjacent to it, it'll have the same feel to it. So it'll be more consistent than trying to put two small lots in there. It's going to not going to have the same feel. So by combining these lots, you get a much better look at a much better situation with one house versus two.
Makes sense. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. No questions? Okay. Pleasure.
Shoot, sorry.
You got to read it.
I need to read the title.
Right.
This is ordinance number 2022-15, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, vacating an existing utility easement between lots 168 and 169 of the plat of Oakland Park, unit 6B-3, lots 168 and 169, Oakland Park unit 6B-3, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in plat book 107 at pages 105 to 108 of the public records of Orange County, Florida, providing for severability, conflict, and effective date.
Thank you. Now it's pleasure.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-15.
Oh, second.
You got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. Nay. Ayes have it, and we pass. House with a courtyard. All right, other policy matters. Pam, I believe you're up again. No more surprises.
Hello again.
Shouldn't let you talk no more.
I'll try to make this quick. So what I wanted to present to you tonight is OACS moving into a partnership to become a model school in an approach called Orton Gillingham. So I wanted to share with you about this particular approach. So what Orton Gillingham is a science-based approach to teaching language skills. So basically, it provides children with the ability and provides the teachers to be equipped with the understanding why behind the language skills. So instruction from OG, we'll call it, is guided by several principles. These principles are multisensory. And what that means is that it incorporates a variety of methods, both visual, auditory, kinesthetic, touch, and your tactiles, again with touch. So it is structured and sequential, very systematic, and the approach is very much organized. The materials have a logical order. It moves from easy to hard. It's from known to unknown, common to uncommon, and concepts are taught systematically and reviewed regularly to ensure that the student has the strongest understanding of this. It approaches their cognitive abilities, so it really taps into their thinking skills when reading and spelling, and so they're using recall to remember the things that they have been taught in regards to various rules. And rather than memorizing, the mind becomes the master, so you can call them back. One of the examples that I can give you is, for instance, if you're teaching someone the rules on the word play, right? P-L-A-Y, you would say A makes the A-Y makes the A sound when at the end of a word. So if the child then tries to spell the word P-L-A in the future, you can say, what do we know about the A sound? And they can say, oh yes, that says A-Y says A at the end. So you are providing them with these tools and these skills to be able to pull this together, and the mind becomes the master of these particular techniques. So it's both static and analytic, because the parts work together, and that the way the instruction is presented, the teacher knows how to break things down. As an example, I just myself completed my second level, the associate level of training, and I had to prepare a sample tutoring, and my word was the Latin root struct, right, to build. And so if you're talking about infrastructure, you would teach the children what does infra, pull that back, that recall, and ask them to recall that. What do we know about shun? And so you would put that together, the act of building within. And so you would provide them with information in regards to what infrastructure, or possibly provide them with pictures and so forth to help further promote their language skills. So it's very direct and very explicit. So it's not like for several years we went to a whole language approach, which everyone did, which was we read a book and we talked around the skills, and not so much in regards to direct and explicit instruction in regards to phonics and phonemic awareness, which is the sounds of that letters make. So students are taught procedural and modeled through the whole process. Diagnostic and prescriptive, which basically means that you're going to look at a whole group and you're going to provide lessons that are based on what we know a child should know between each grade level. And prescriptive would mean that we would then kind of veer off course if we are looking for a student that has different needs. For instance, if one of you was struggling with that AY concept, we might move you into a small group to continue to provide instruction in that. And with all instruction, we hope that we provide is emotionally sound. And the way that this particular program is emotionally sound is that there is a high degree of success, because you're saying you're doing this is, yes, remember this, you're asking them, they're engaged, they're a part of it. They can gain confidence from those successes throughout. And they build their self-esteem from that positive experience. So what I'm here to talk about is that we have been presented with an opportunity to become a model school in partnership with the Reed Charitable Foundation. So I wanted to tell you about the Reed Charitable Foundation because they are truly a blessing that has fallen from the sky. So about previous to COVID, we had begun looking at Orton Gillingham training for a couple of our teachers that we were going to send them. Now, only fellows of the academy can actually provide trainings. It was going to cost us an excess of $4,000 to train two to three teachers, right? And then that's the far as we could go, because they could provide the particular skills and strategies, but it's not the train the trainer approach. Around that time, I received a phone call from a parent of an incoming family that said, had I heard about this organization, instantly matched them up, and they were created in 2019 to make immediate impact and to actually provide at no cost this training. Their goal is to provide this training to as many educators as possible, specifically in this area, but ultimately Jen Knopf, who's the founder of this organization, really has a very big mission that she has in mind. She'd love to see all teachers trained in this because it is proven to be a sound educational approach, but it does serve to provide quality instruction to those that have who struggle with dyslexia. And so dyslexia students, that's about 1 in every 5 students struggles with this.
Wow.
So it's an impact. So since their inception of this, the Reed Charitable Foundation, they've educated over 650 educators. I can tell you they educated at no cost to us, every educator that we have from K through 2 already. Okay, so now they're going to do it again for our new hires. And we have also done all of our ESE MTSS, which is our interventions teachers as well. They are committed through this model school to continue to provide training for our teachers. They have come on all throughout this entire year. We were trained K through 2 by October, and we began implementing this system completely as of January, and they have been here along the way with their staff to come and observe, provide guidance, provide support, help us with scope and sequence so it aligns with the state standards. All those things they have provided. So this Reed Foundation was created because her Jennifer's son is actually dyslexic, and she struggled getting him the services that he needs. And I can tell you, as an educator, if you probably heard this in school, the word dyslexia a lot. It was thrown around a lot, in my time. I remember people saying that, but they're really, even through the school system, if you were to get an identification, they will not attack the dyslexic tendencies as the OG program would. We would just move through the reading continuum to provide them with reading instruction. Still quality of approach, but not as quick of a turnaround in regards to response. So she basically wanted to create this organization to provide an opportunity to give every child what her child was getting through very expensive tutoring for multiple years. And basically knows that, firsthand that this is a life-altering approach to changing someone's life in regards to those that have language issues. So the Reed Charitable Foundation has selected Oakland Avenue, one of 4 schools, to be a model school for them. And in this, there is a memorandum of understanding that we will enter into that basically goes through what they will offer us, which is the training. They will have a staff member that will come to us and continue to support us. They will continue to help us evaluate how this works within the state standards, how we can improve, continue to train. Our agreement back to them is obviously to provide, feedback, including data, not student-specific data, just student data in general in regards to approach. We obviously would redact any child's name in regards to specific data, but just in regards to growth so that they can obviously continue to grow this organization and to support other schools. So we're very proud of being selected this. We would be considered a leader in the area. And I can tell you that we are already hearing that people know that we are probably the only school, at least in Orange County, that is implementing Orton Gillingham completely. And people whose students struggle with these things know it, and just adds more interest to Oakland Avenue. So my purpose today was to inform you about this and to let you know that we'd be entering into the MOU with them for next year. And if you had any questions, I can try to answer.
Questions?
Can you share with us who are the 4 schools that they partner with?
Yeah, let me get the names. Yeah. Zelwood.
Okay.
Let's see, I know Zelwood Baldwin Park and UCP BCA.
What's the third one?
UCP, and that has the BCA, and that must be one of their other local. I don't know. I don't think it's the garden.
Anything else? This is fabulous.
Yeah, very excited.
It really is. It's, you know, it's all the reasons for just everything. You guys are just phenomenal there.
I think it just goes along with what we, you know, what we recognized you earlier for is that the idea of having choice is part of what a charter school is about.
Right.
To be able to respond and not just have to, you know, follow what somebody in a big building says is right for kids. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but sometimes you have a different need, you know, depending on your school, and sometimes you have to make different decisions. So.
No, that's exactly what a charter school is for, and that's exactly why we wanted to stay that way. So thank you.
Thank you for listening. Thank you.
So don't sit down. That's
Promoting this model school on the website too. Okay.
And next up, I believe we have the budget for the school.
Yes, and I'll get to that.
You guys see the nature off the hook now.
You know, they passed tonight too. I was waiting, I didn't hit one city tonight, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had heard it was 0 cities, so they did a great job.
Yeah. No.
Ready. So the purpose of this presentation tonight is to present to the town commission the Oakland Avenue Charter School budget. It's the 2023 tentative budget. So the school runs on a different fiscal year than the town. So you have to have at least a tentative budget in place by July 1st. I'll get through some of those while I'm here. Okay.
It's not working.
So basically, I'm going to go through a quick overview of the school, some accomplishments, the budget, and then the requested action. So again, the fiscal year for the Oakland Avenue Charter School is the July 1st to June 30th. That's based on the state fiscal year. So every year we bring the tentative budget to the commission in June. We don't even have so the state did approve the budget, but there's a revenue calculator that we use in order to take the allocations and know what the OACS is going to get through OCPS. We don't have that revenue calculator yet. So this is considered the tentative budget. It puts a budget in place for July 1. When we do the regular town budget in September with the 2 public hearings, we'll update the school budget and bring that for final approval. Just a couple of things to consider. The Oakland Avenue Charter School is not funded by the town of Oakland millage or property taxes. It is funded through the allocations from the state through OCPS. It is also the school millage that OCPS has on the property tax bills. We do get a small piece of that through OCPS. OACS does pay the town rent for the use of the property in the building because it is town-owned property. But again, that also covers the debt service that we have on the building and the land that the town owns when they built the school back in 2003. So accomplishments. First thing, we do have a school nurse on campus, and we've been able to fund that in the past, and we'll continue to fund that for next year. So these are accomplishments for the current year that just finished up. We do have a school resource officer that is funded. We have the expanded technology access, and you saw a great presentation from Jonathan on the technology aspects of the school. We've got the interactive whiteboards and one-on-one access in 4th and 5th grades. We did receive some ESSER 1 and ESSER 2 funding from the COVID federal funding that came out, and that helped to support various school operations. We were awarded an American Rescue Plan Act grant for the Early Learning Coalition in the amount of $45,000 to support the BPK program. And again, this is funded through the town, but the school is going through an HVAC system replacement, and they've been over there working for the last 2 weeks or so. And it's amazing what they're doing right now as far as getting into the ceiling. So they're doing all the duct work and all the preliminary work. We don't have the major equipment. We won't have that, and probably won't be installed, the chillers and such, until next year. But they are doing all the preliminary things with the piping and the duct work at the school right now. Moving on, again, what this is in front of you is an estimated revenues of $5,932,686,000. That is essentially the operating revenues. We were showing a beginning fund balance, which money brought forward from the current year of about $295,000 to get a total estimated revenues of just under $6.3 million for the school. This does include ESSER 3 funding. So we had, and I'm going to go into that in a little more detail, but ESSER 3 funding is for the next 2 years. It's close to $1.3 million that the town's getting, or that actually OACS is getting. And so that'll be split up over 2 years. You'll see part of it is in this budget. Part of it is in, it will be in the following year's budget. And again, the revenue budget will be revised in September because we're basically using this year's revenues in the current year that's just about to end. And so we'll update that. So there will probably be some additional revenues that will be shown. When that comes through, I'd like to evaluate in the budget, and I've got the expense budget up there now. You'll see that we have 3% raises in there, but I would like to evaluate if there's a little bit more that we could do for the teachers once we get the full revenue picture. And we're also looking to do maybe a little bit of a reorg with staffing. So those two things we'll go through in August once we know what the revenues are going to be, and that'll be part of the update of the budget in September. So again, budget's got a balance. Total expenses is just under 6.3. You can see we've got a budgeted reserves of about 311,000. Total operating expenses of 5.9 million. It does include 3% for raises for the teachers, up to 3% based on their evaluations. Paint overhangs, so some of the areas underneath the building that have been peeling, and we are embarking on a project to get that repainted. Classroom painting, there are some classrooms that are getting painted. We are looking to expand technology purchases so we can get to the 1-to-1 on 2nd and 3rd grade. We've got we're doing a cover for the playground, and we've changed one of the instructional positions to a full-time behavior. Now what I'm going to get into, so the next thing I just want to kind of give you a snapshot of staffing over at the school. A total of about 66 positions over there. You've got the principal, you've got the instructional classroom teachers, speech and guidance positions, which are about 42 positions. We've got 10 non-instructional positions full-time. We've got 13 part-time non-instructional positions, and then we try to keep a pool of about 10 to 12 substitutes. So that's not part of that 66. 66 are the actual staffing. Now I'm going to get into the ESSER 3 funding, just to kind of give you a breakdown of where that's going and how that's, what that means. So OACS has been awarded just under $1.4 million in ESSER 3 funding. It is funding over a 2-year period and must be obligated by September 30th of 2024. So what you see in the budget before you is it includes about $873,000 in ESSER 3 funding, which includes technology, and I'll go through some of those things that's in there. And then we're holding back the balance of 486 for the following year, which will cover, we've got some positions that are tied to this, and so that'll cover that funding. But we're making an investment in technology and some upgrades in next year's budget. The key to the ESSER 3 funding, funds are designed to help schools safely reopen, restore, and maintain high quality learning environments, measure and effectively address learning loss, and take other actions to mitigate the impacts of COVID-19. So Pam's put together a plan. Here's some of the things that 5 new part-time Tpa positions. They are very much being hired as grant funded positions. So they're being hired on a 2-year basis to provide support to teachers in all functions, student supervision, intervention support, teacher support, data collection, data analysis to help close those gaps. Some of the other areas of spending includes technology needs and enhancements. We are doing a lot of learning clinics, and you saw some of the software stuff that we talked about before. A lot of that's being included as part of this ESSER funds, innovative teaching tools. And then we're also looking for opportunities to help with teachers, including premium pay bonuses and training opportunities that meet the intended criteria of closing learning gaps. So we are doing, Pam's got a number of clinics going on this summer, learning clinics, a lot of different things that we're trying to do to, again, close those learning gaps. So, and many of these enhancements, we had to go through, OCPS had to get approved on at the high level. Many of the things that we are doing does follow what OCPS is doing. We do have some of our own innovative things that we're doing with this, but Pam and the staff over at the school, as well as town staff, have been looking at this for the last number of months, putting together the plan. And so they've done a great job with looking to try to be innovative and try to close those learning gaps for over the next 2 years. So next one, just a couple of challenges. We continue to work through these. I believe we're still trying to hire 2 teachers right now. Staff hiring and retention. Very, very competitive environment. Salary considerations, and not enough teachers in the profession. What did I hear? You have graduated like 18,000 people, back in May, and only like 200 of them were teachers. So there's not a lot of people coming out into education. So again, it's a very competitive environment, and I believe all the school districts are going through a lot of people leaving the profession to do other things just because of how intense it's been the last couple of years with COVID. The other thing is, again, we got to make sure that we're maintaining adequate reserves for contingencies and looking at those future capital planning, including maintenance. So we are working on the HVAC under warranty for a number of years. We are doing a few things right now, but there'll be other things that we need to consider in the future. We can make sure we're planning that maintenance of the buildings and the infrastructure that we do have over there, because the school's going on about 18, 19 years old now. So there are things that are going to need to be taken care of. So we want to make sure we're trying to plan for those things. So that's something that over the next couple of years we really need to be looking at as we finish up the HVAC project. Things need to be addressed over there. So bottom line, we'll see this again. This is just the tentative budget. And if you have any questions, be happy to answer. Pam's here also, but the requested action is to approve the tentative Oakland Avenue Charter School budget for 2022.
Questions? Okay, and again, it's, you know, common, and every year we do it tentative.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I know it's a shortage, but what's our recruitment process? What do you do for recruitment?
Primarily right now, we rely on the town website, word of mouth, and we have been using Indeed for about a year. So that's the process. A lot of word of mouth has been really where, you know, people just know us.
Is there any way to put in the budget to allow it to go to, it's, I don't know how many state schools we have, but.
Yeah, so we actually did, so I apologize, I did leave this out. So we did participate, all, unfortunately, job fairs were virtual this year. And
okay.
They were very poorly attended.
Okay.
We registered for the one that was at UCF. We registered for the Great Teach-In. That was also, that's the big one for the state to do those to. We actually took a list from those, we get lists from those places and tried to solicit them by sending out emails. So I apologize if I left those out. We do types of this.
And the system that we've been driven to with the town website is it's through Paychex Flex. And once we put it into that system, it goes to Indeed, Glassdoor. There's like 5 different job sites that anything that we're posting, all of it's going to that. So that's something we've been transitioning to this spring and trying to get that fully functional. But we are trying to get all the jobs, including the teacher jobs, out there to more places.
Yeah, I think as things lighten up, if we could do some go places live and set up a booth or whatever,
yeah.
I think that would be.
Yeah, and that's one of the things as we are looking to do a little bit of reorganization. We're talking among staff, and we'll start having those meetings here pretty soon. Is to give a little more support on the HR side.
Yeah.
To the school. And so that's something that we're going to address in August, and it'll be part of the budget. So yeah, absolutely. We'll be looking at that. Because that way we'll have a little more bandwidth to be able to do those kind of things.
Anything? All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the tentative Oakland Avenue Charter School fiscal year 2022.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. And we have our tentative budget. Thank you. All right, now, I guess we can't put you guys off any longer. You know, and I do apologize if I had thought about it with all of our other stuff and celebrating and all. I should have pulled you up to the front of it, but I know you didn't have anything to do anyway, so.
But I bet you if the mayor was here, she would have moved you up to the front.
You know,
I got it too.
You know, and I bet you had, oh, never mind. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm sticking to it.
Alternative water supply project.
Right. Could you pull up the presentation real quick? Just so we meet all the obligations of our, we did advertise this. I want to make sure that we meet all the obligations that we need to. So we're going to go through this real quick, and it'll be part of the minutes of the meeting. And this is to go through the town of Oakland stormwater harvesting alternative water supply facility plan. You heard the engineers and the technical presentation at the workshop. I'm just going to go through the presentation real quickly. So again, the project need comes from the fact that we need to conserve the water that we're taking out of the aquifer. We are part of the Central Florida Water Initiative. As part of that, we've got a lot of regulation, and the likelihood of us ever being able to take more water than our current permit is very unlikely. So we are looking for an alternative way to be able to use water for irrigation. So, and as we've talked in the past, the town is growing, and we've got 5 new neighborhoods that could be supported through an alternative water resource. So on the next slide, we'll just talk about the project description. So we have an alternative water supply facility that'll supplement the potable water to, demand for irrigation. And it's considered stormwater harvesting. actually taking stormwater before it gets to Lake Apopka and being able to treat it and use it for irrigation. It will be harvested from the canal, considered a stormwater canal, treated and then distributed to the town. And again, we've got about 1,000 houses that could benefit from this because they already have the infrastructure in place. And it would help you reduce the amount of groundwater that we would need from the aquifer. So the proposed site is, there's a piece of property that, you know, the town owns in entirety, the nature preserve. It was bought through FCT funds. We have worked with this, we are able to use a little sliver of property, and it's adjacent next to what's already a wastewater pump station for the Hull Island development. So it's not going to cause any more, it wouldn't cause any issues with any adjacent owners any more so than the pump station that's already there. It'll draw the water out of the canal. Again, the 5 different neighborhoods that would be able to be supported through their irrigation needs. I'm not going to get into the technical parts of this. That is the why we have CPH putting this together. But the idea is alternative 2 would be to harvest, treatment, and distribute the water with a future ability to expand the project to include a storage pond and additional pump structures that could serve even more than that 1,000 houses. The facility and components, you know, we've got an intake screen, pump stations, filters, chlorine disinfection, chlorine contact clear well, the SCADA, and then the distribution system. Again, the facility design, CPH went over that in detail at the work session. We've got some reference photos to kind of give you an idea of what the system could look like. And this is a system that we toured with CPH over in Winter Garden. They took us on a tour of the facility. It is quite impressive, actually. Nice. The overall project cost is $4.4 million for this phase. Again, there's a lot of things that need to happen. And staff is diligently looking for funding for this project, but with this particular presentation and public hearing tonight is to get us in line for the revolving loan fund as one part of the funding structure to fund this project. Again, I don't know ultimately how this will fall out. It will provide alternative water. I don't know that it'll be significantly cheaper than what's currently being provided to the residents, but it will certainly be much more environmentally friendly, and we'll have future savings on the potable water and other probably more significant costs that could hit the town. So this will have a benefit, even if it's not necessarily in the rate structure. But overall, staff recommends that you adopt the alternative water facility plan and allow us to move forward with the design of this and to continue to look for additional funding sources.
Okay. Any questions? Probably all pretty cool.
No questions, but I just want to hope we can tell our story that we're doing everything we can do for the environment. So I just hope that's one of our stories we tell in the community.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree.
All right, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the adoption of the alternative water supply facilities plan.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
We have our plan. So.
Just want to say he's hired. You did a fantastic job.
You know, and I'm sorry I kept this on, but I am
betting dollars or donuts that you 3 are walking out of here knowing a lot more about birds, bats, Boy Scouts. Thank you. All right. All right, we are down to town manager reports. All right.
I just have a couple things. This is already on the website. It's going out tomorrow on our Facebook page. Waste Management will be distributing it directly to residents also. a little bit of information concerning our trash pickup and some of the challenges that we've had.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure y'all had a copy of that. You can read through it, but essentially they are working harder to try to, they are working very hard to try to meet the demands. It's not just us. I can tell you, Alicia's been tracking other communities that are having the same issues. I got a message from Robert Smith. What are y'all doing, with Windermere? What are y'all doing about your trash pickup? Maitland's having issues. It's not just the town, but they are doing some things to try to improve their service, and you can see those listed on here. So again, this will be going out on Facebook. It's already on our website, and they're supposed to do a direct mailing. I want to make sure y'all know that behind the scenes, we have been working with them and trying to keep pushing them to improve their service. And then our next displays at the Arts and Heritage Center are be unveiled next week, I believe. And we're also going to have an open house Friday, June 24th. So we are starting a new series with music from 3 to 6 on the 4th Friday, the summer series. And at the first one on June 24th, we'll also have the open house with the new display. So it's on the Old Town Road, Land, Water, Air. They've got some cool stuff that they're putting together. We've got a lot of art. They had a huge number of artists that wanted to display. So it should be a very cool display. So that'll be changing up over the course of the next week. And we'll be doing that open house on the 24th. So, and you can see where they're planning on doing Meet the Artists. And we're looking at having a food truck, and we've got the musicians, Aaron, I can't pronounce his last name.
I can't either, I'm sorry.
I know. Kelly.
Yeah.
So,
young kid.
and you can see some of the local artists that will be displayed. So, like I said, we had a great turnout when we put a call out to artists. So I think we're gonna have some really cool stuff. So that's all I have.
Okay. It's down to us. Start with you, Commissioner. Pam, did you have something else?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No.
I got two. Lisa's you're gonna start getting a lot of emails from Tri-County, because they're trying to get, there's 21 cities in the area, and they're trying to get more local elected to be involved. And so the director, Angela Chris, is gonna start sending out some emails and some surveys, telling us how we're doing, also asking for input on how we get more participation. So she does a great job whenever those emails come, she reminds us. So if you can, please fill out those surveys. I know a lot of us are pulled in so many different directions. But the goal is to try to get most of us, a lot more of us involved in, what's going on with the state. And then also we're trying to create like local priorities. And so, like for instance, we're trying to get money for our reclaimed water. That can be a part of the whole Tri-County, priorities as well. So they're trying to figure out what's going on in the different cities and towns, and then maybe have a top 5 to 10 or whatever that we all can come behind as a region. And so things like that's going to be asked of all the cities and towns. And then the next piece is FLC conferences in August. And as I know Commissioner Ramos stated he was going to come. And so that's going to be, this is the 100th year. So it's going to be a real big celebration for FLC. So look out for the email, Tri-County, and then the FLC coming up. And it's going to, so this area, we have a new executive director, so there's going to be a lot of changes as far as trying to get more people involved and just trying to figure out different ways. They may even change the meetings to some nights. So we may have a meeting instead of a lunch meeting, which I know is hard to go to a lunch meeting. So we may come up with some meetings at night to try to get more people involved. So, but it's all going to come to you to get to us. And so just want to get your heads up. Probably next week, you might get some emails from Angela Chris.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Sal.
It's a pretty cool title, Old Town.
Yeah, this is good.
I went to the State of the Union. I attended the State of the Union, as I was mentioning earlier to Mike. It was not as well attended as the years, before COVID. So I think they're ramping back up little by little. But Mayor Demings did a great speech. They had a great show. They actually had some performers on there. It was pretty cool. But he did mention about that penny tax that it's now in the voters' hands to see, up to the citizens to decide. So we're hoping that everybody in the room was all in agreement to hope that it goes through, because everybody that I talked to there from all the other cities and towns, they were really looking forward to getting a share of that. So hopefully the citizens vote that way. And that's all I got.
Great.
I don't have any.
Okay. I just got a few. First of all, Pam, thank you guys for that award. That was just wonderful. So I will say, with 30 years of Pepsi behind me and 25 or so years of this, the school is probably the most rewarding thing that I've ever worked on. It's just cool. And to see it doing so well, it's just, I couldn't be happier. So thank you so much. So second, I want to read a letter that came from Dennis Folks. I want it in the record. We got it all as commissioners. I don't know if it went into everyone or not. It came to Mayor Kathy Stark and was copied to the four of us, and says, "Dear Mayor Stark, what an honor to see my name on a street sign. It was both an exhilarating and humbling experience and brought back memories of my working with the commission, staff, and people in Oakland. The location is especially appropriate due to my relationship with the Oakland Nature Preserve. I was given a thorough tour by Mike Parker and was impressed by how the town is developing with the high standards we set to keep the soul of Oakland. Your constant, strong support was and continues to be the key to the success of your staff and community. Thank you for following through on the sign. It's a real honor and will always be a reminder to me of the privilege it was to be a part of our little town. Sincerely, Dennis Folks." So, and he's, if you haven't seen it yet, this letter is in everybody's box too, so that we got it. So he was pretty stoked over the whole thing when he went with it. He sent out his pictures, with the sign and all. So he's very happy. So the last thing I got was, I want to talk about the playground one more time. I meant to bring it up, ourselves, and I didn't, but it's hot out there. We had started getting hot. Summer is here, and I would really like to revisit covering the playgrounds if we can. As I'm watching them now, the summer's out and the kids are there. All through the summer, that sun hits directly on that playground in Spear Park. I haven't looked at West Side, but the one at Spear Park, it is really in the sunlight. And when I came to commission meeting, it was still in sunlight. It hadn't even gone down from out there, and it's hotter. It's hot. I'm gonna leave it at that. So I would like some input from what you guys think is, or if it's just me, then I'll let it go. But it's hard.
Not just you. I second your statement, really. Tomorrow we're having a heat wave coming from the west over here, and it's going to be one of the hottest days. I don't think kids can play on that playground, whether it's Spear or the one on a whole avenue. I know there's maintenance behind those campuses, but I mean, if there's maintenance every 5-10 years compared to the use of it, it's a good trade-off. I mean, it's not, in my point,
we can go through. I mean, when I brought it up before, I'd kind of passed, kind of moved past doing the shade structures because of the cost.
Yeah, I know, we did. And then I think as we've gone through the winter where it wasn't quite so hot, it wasn't quite as impactful till we started to get in this heat, and it's not going to let up all summer. So, and the summer is really the time that the kids are going to be out there all during the day. When you have wintertime and they're in school and they come home and they get stuff, it's probably cooled off enough by then for them to go out. But when you got all summer long, it's going to be hard. So if we can kind of look at something. Yes.
I just wanted to share. So we, on the budget that we put together an estimate and put into the budget to put a cover on the back playground at the school. We had every intention of doing the shade structure and actually doing it ourselves. Like So we hired an engineer, got the engineer drawing plans, and we have come all the way to the end of it. And it is, by the time you buy the steel, is double the amount that we anticipated would be to try to do it ourselves. So we're probably to try to do it ourselves was going to be 15,000, maybe 18,000, and to hire someone ends up being around 24,000. So it's very expensive. And just so I just want to provide that we're in that. So
We have some at the courts, right? At the basketball courts that we put.
Yes.
How much do we benefit from that?
Oh, that was a humongous benefit. Like seriously, we probably wouldn't have had a PE teacher right now, which is,
Well, you would have 2 or 3 of them dying from heat stroke. I guess I'm just asking, can we just relook at it and try to
absolutely,
figure something, because it's hot.
on that we are also looking at the opportunities for an additional pickleball court, whether it's at Spear Park or somewhere else. I can get some quotes on what it would be for shade structures.
Yeah. So, and you guys say would.
You get a 2 for 1.
A 2-for-1 deal.
I didn't mean to spring it. Actually, I've been thinking about it over the last couple of days of, watching the kids and stuff and being over there and it just slipped my mind for us to kind of talk about it. But that was my thought. So we can look at it. So anyway, that's all that I have.
So I would like to suggest that we go ahead and formally cancel the meeting on the 28th.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
I guess we can do that by a vote.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have a quorum, and we can take whatever's been advertised for the 28th and move that to July 12th. So I'd like to suggest that we go ahead and cancel the meeting on the 28th.
Okay. So we need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion. We cancel the commission meeting for June 28th.
I'll second it.
Motion in a second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. All right, so our next scheduled meeting will be the 12th of July.
And keep in mind, the budget meeting will be on the 26th of July. So that's where you'll set the millage, and I'll,
Okay. And I will, for the 12th, I was going to say that I will probably not be able to make the meeting on the 12th, but due to circumstances, if it needs to be a quorum, I can move my plans that I need to move to make one more day, so I can make it if I need to. All right.
All right, if all hearts and minds are satisfied, let's adjourn. It's 8:26 p.m.
Our question on this topic.